Kamaru Usman lost his patience live on air and lashed out at MMA fans after they claimed that the former champion declined the fight against Shavkat Rakhmonov simply because Usman is afraid of facing him. This claim stems from the belief that Shavkat is currently the most dangerous threat in the division. Check out Kamaru Usman's intense response, Shavkat's counterstatement denying Usman's claims, Garry's controversial comments, and much more. First, let's take a look at what Kamaru Usman said, shutting down MMA fans, mocking him, and accusing him of being scared of Shavkat and refusing the fight. This is an intriguing fight. This is a fight that I was potentially going to slide into. I've touched on this a million times, which is crazy to me because I'm seeing online people like, you scared? You ducking? You ducking? You scared? You scared? What? I'm like, wait, what? This is the same sentiment that I feel like people are doing to Jon Jones. It's just like when people, where your fans or fans of a fighter don't get their desired wish that they want, that's the fight I want, then it's like, that guy must be scared because he didn't take the fight. Like, guys, shut up. Shut up. We step in there each and every time. I have 22 or 25 fights. I don't know how many fights, but you think everyone, oh, you scared. World champion and defending belts time and time again, oh, he's scared. Shut up. Just because you didn't get what you wanted. Guess what? It's like your mom telling you, no, you can't have that toy today. So shut your mouth. Shavkat Rakhmonov, however, took a different stance and publicly stated that Kamaru Usman ultimately refused to fight him. According to Shavkat, out of the 4 fighters offered, only Garry agreed to the match. I wanted to fight Kamaru Usman, but he didn't accept the fight. Also, they offered to Prates, but he was injured. And Colby Covington, he rejected the fight. And I'm happy that Garry accepted the fight. It will be a great fight. In the beginning, Usman accepted the fight, and then he rejected. Maybe he didn't want to risk. Of course, he doesn't want to lose. I don't care about Colby, but yes, I offered him to fight me. But he was just talking. When it came to business, he rejected. Disappeared. But I'm happy that I'm fighting Garry. We are both unbeaten and we'll see who is better. I'll become a champion first and then when I go away he can become a champion next. But I don't see him as a champion now. I know he is a good fighter, a good striker, but I believe that I'm a much better fighter and have more abilities to beat him. Garry also spoke out, revealing that the fight he truly wanted was against Colby Covington. The Irishman is confident going into his bout with Shavkat and even hinted at fighting Colby 2 weeks after facing Shavkat. I was seething. How do you think I feel? I've been screaming and shouting about fighting that man from the rafters. This man's made videos about me, my wife, my kids, talked all this S-star. And here's this man avoiding me like the plague. The second I book in against the scariest man in the division, he's like, oh, I'll fight in Florida. It just shows that he's a coward, that he wants nothing to do with me. The truth is I know I've already beaten him. I know I've already mentally beaten him. He's weak. He's an absolute coward, and I believe he's going to go out there and get absolutely steamrolled by Joaquin Buckley. I think Buckley starches him. Here's my ideal scenario. I go out there December 7th, and I take out Shavkat early. I come out of there unscathed, uninjured. I get on the mic, I say, hey. I could wait until next year when Belal Muhammad's back or walk my *** all the way down to Florida, and I could beat the bollocks out of Colby Covington for 25 minutes. I can prove how good I am next week. Colby talks a lot, but he's not willing to back it up. That would be my deal. I would love to beat Shavkat, and the following week, fight as the main event in Tampa, and bury Colby Covington, and leave him dead and done in that octagon, never to be seen again. Garry also shared his future aspirations, mentioning that he plans to go after Khamzat Chimaev to claim a second UFC belt in the middleweight division and cautioned Shavkat not to rely on their previous sparring sessions as a reference for their upcoming fight. I'm a young kid who's dreamed of being here, who wanted to see his face on billboards. I wanted to do shows against the scariest people in the world. I've said to you before how my ideal scenario is I fight and beat Shavkat and then win the welterweight title. I go up to middleweight, I fight Khamzat Chimaev and win that belt too. I'm not afraid of any man. I know how talented I am. I know the gifts God gave me. Training is training. What are we doing in training? We're trying to evolve and grow. We are trying to be better, do things that put us in scenarios where we need to learn. So if Shavkat believes that the training we had in the past is going to be the same on Saturday night when he steps in that octagon with me, you're going to be severely mistaken. And if I were you, I would change that mentality very quickly. Kamaru Usman also shared his prediction for this fight, and unlike most, he believes Garry could win against Shavkat. However, Usman warns that this fight will likely be boring and not enjoyable for fans. Check it out. Honestly, putting on my professional hat, I can see a world where Garry gets this one done, but I don't really care much for both guys, so I don't really care. I'm not picking. Whoever it is, at some point I'm going to have to see and I'm going to have to do what I do, but I don't really care. But I can see a world where gets it done. Shavkat is very good and very dangerous, but I can see a world where gets it done. I'm not hating in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I love the fight on paper, but I don't think it's going to be as exciting as people think. People are expecting blood and this and that. I don't think it's going to be that because Garry is a smart fighter that's willing to just dance around for 30 minutes. He's going to dance around. He's willing to do that in order to create the space that he wants in order to try to land his strikes. Shavkat, not necessarily. Shavkat's going to play the game with you for a little bit, but Shavkat at some point is going to want to get going. So if doesn't want to get going, we know it takes two to tango. If doesn't want to get going, that fight might not be the bloodbath that everybody's expecting, everybody's craving and going ooh-ah, but on paper I think it's a fantastic fight and somebody's has got to go. Michael Bisping also shared his thoughts, confidently stating that Shavkat will likely submit the Irishman, as won't withstand the intense pressure from the division's boogeyman. I've said this before, you've got to have a lot of respect for Garry. He didn't have to take this fight, but can he stop the takedown? It seems like all I'm talking about here is takedowns. Shavkat Rakhmonov, he's very tall for the division, as is Garry. They're both 6'3" and they're both competent strikers. Garry's probably going to dance around the octagon and use the exact same game plan what he did against Jeff Neal. He's got to keep Shavkat Rakhmonov off him. If he can't stop the takedown, he will get finished. That's no disrespect to Garry. He might be able to dance around, use the reach, use the range, use the movement, be fast, be elusive, be nice and crisp, be light on your toes, and be dedicated enough to not allow himself to get involved into a brawl. If he does that, Shavkat's going to get a hold of him. If he gets a hold of him, he's going to get Garry down. If he gets him down, it's going to be lights out. Renowned MMA coach Firas Zahabi also weighed in, confidently stating that Shavkat will emerge victorious and praising him as a truly exceptional fighter. I'm super pumped for this fight. Why? Two undefeated major prospects going at it. What's so special about Rakhmonov? I'll tell you. After watching his fights, it's kind of obvious. He has a relentless pressure. The man is an animal. He has an incredible robustness and resilience. His relentless pressure, I feel, is going to be way too much for him. For Garry to win this fight, I think he'd have to stay on the outside for quite a long time, pick and poke, stick and move, and we saw that even Wonderboy, Stephen Thompson, wasn't able to do that against Shavkat. I think he's going to sub Garry. If he can do that to Jeff Neal and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, two elite strikes who are not easy to finish, two guys who are incredibly robust, highly experienced, I think he's going to run down, chop down, wrestle down Garry eventually. Look at all his finishes, man. The guy has finished 100% of his opponents, 6 wins in the UFC. The MMA world is certainly heating up this week, and Kamaru Usman's patience with the fans has run thin. But what do you think? Did Usman really refuse the fight against Shavkat Rakhmonov? And as for the fight between Shavkat and Garry, who do you think will win? Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's exchange ideas.